Speaking of agency in the region, Don, I think last week we were here discussing this State of Southeast Asia survey by the ISEAS-Yusuf Ishak Institute in Singapore, where the ASEAN is shown to be a bit more in favor of aligning with China. Versus the United States. I think we're at about 50-50 compared to about 60-40 last year. They did acknowledge, though, that this tends to be kind of a seesawing kind of trend line. What are your thoughts on it? Is it just because of economic help, Belt and Road Initiative, RCEP, what have you?
Well, here's the thing. I think the State of Southeast Asia survey is very authoritative, and it has been a great source of information. But of course, going beyond the representation of the survey, when we look into state interaction, particularly in Southeast Asia, there is still that unwillingness to choose sides. And I think that this is merely representational of the reality that Southeast Asian states face vis-a-vis their geography towards China, their deep economic integration with China, to the point where political economic decisions cannot be taken independently without factoring in China. And of course, at the same time, it is the intensification of the U.S.-China power competition that continues to trouble Southeast Asian states in this regard. So from this reaction, and if we don't look too much into the numbers and showing that there has been, a huge, a tilt towards China in this regard, this has been sort of consistent with how Southeast Asian states act and have been acting since the beginning of time. And that is, of course, risk-averse, survival-driven, and interest-driven to that regard. So, of course, the unwillingness to choose sides will definitely be there. But of course, there is that growing realization that as China expands its economic integration in the region, it would be harder to decouple from that reality. And this also serves as an opportunity, I'd like to say, for other major players to step up their representation in Southeast Asia, such as Japan, Australia, India, France, the UK, in order to serve as alternatives. And that's what Southeast Asian states really need. They don't need to choose. They need more options. And I think this is a call for that.